Bad news on the jobs front, the highest unemployment rate in 8 years. Discount fares and a summer holiday add up to airport madness across the country. And Campaign 92, tonight, Hollywood and women teaming up for change. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening, I'm Charles Kuralt, sitting in tonight for Dan Rather. One agency of the government announced today that unemployment has gone from bad to worse, and another agency, the Federal Reserve, leapt in minutes later to cut interest rates, yet another attempt to get the economy moving. CBS News money correspondent Ray Brady has our report.
Manufacturing, construction, retailing. In nearly every industry, unemployment jumped last month as the jobless rate surged to 7.8%, the highest in 8 years, pushed up by job cuts and new graduates crowding into the labor market.
The recovery is faltering, and it certainly raises the possibility of another recession.
The Federal Reserve moved fast, slashing the discount rate to its lowest level since John F. Kennedy was president. Big banks cut their prime rate to 6%. That means that other rates will be coming down. Bad news for savers and retirees, but the hope is that lower rates on loans will get Americans borrowing and spending again.
People are trying to pay cash for everything. If you can't pay cash, then you don't buy. So.
That's the problem. Even some Americans with jobs have lost confidence. These people are taking special courses, worried about losing their jobs to younger workers who work more cheaply.
With the competition, I figure the best thing to do is to take some courses and enhance, what I already know.
Today's figures, though, may heighten workers' fears. Companies are firing again. In June, employers' payrolls registered a drop. 117,000 jobs lost.
It's not good news.
Mr. Bush wasn't the only one talking jobs today.
The president has said that he'll do whatever it takes to get reelected and keep his job, but the best thing he could do is to help Americans keep their jobs.
Jobs could become the #1 election issue. Unemployment rose in many of the big electoral states. California unemployment now 9.5%. Michigan 8.8%. Texas 8.2%. New York 9.2%. Florida 8.5%.
Jobs really are the key to an economic recovery. Jobs, jobs, and jobs. You've got to see jobs expand.
But these are the summer months when business always slows down, and that cuts the chances for any meaningful job creation, at least over the near future. Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
President Bush said today he will sign a bill to give extra jobless benefits to the long-term unemployed. The measure will provide up to 26 more weeks of benefits to more than 1 million Americans. Ross Perot today won a spot on the ballot in California's general election. Now he's qualified in 20 states. Perot still hasn't officially declared his candidacy for president, but as Bill Lagatuda reports, Perot was campaigning again today after a week that saw his rising star falter.
It was vintage Ross Perot today in Washington state, pledging not to let the critics slow down his non-campaign. But as he continues to ride a huge wave of voter discontent in America, it's clear that even Perot's hardcore supporters, who in the past thought he could do no wrong, are beginning to want more. Ken Lyon collected signatures for Perot.
I've watched almost all of his press conferences and his town meetings and things like that. And I just get the feeling that most of the people that ask a question sit down and feel that their question hasn't been answered.
In search of answers himself, Ken Lyon joined the Perot backdrop today and listened.
Can we agree that we have work to do? Is there anybody here that's not willing to put his or her shoulder to the wheel and do it? Is there anybody here that can live with the fact that we are no longer the #1 economic superpower in the world? Is there any question in your minds that if we get off our seats and get in the ring, you and I can make the words "Made in the USA" once again the world standard for excellence?
Keeping his volunteers from deserting the team is only half the battle. To win, Perot needs whole blocks of voters who are more like Bill Wilprecht. He's always liked the idea of Perot, but lately...
I'm not sure right now, though, if he's the person I'll vote for come November, because he hasn't defined himself on most of the issues.
We can make this country anything we want it to be.
I'm not quite satisfied, but I'm still impressed with him.
And what about Ken Lyon, the loyalist, now that he's heard Perot's message firsthand?
Like a lot of people, I'm still waiting for more specifics. But there's nobody else to do the job.
All of which seems to indicate Perot's support is much thinner and far more discriminating than first thought. It's as if the voters enjoyed their first date with Perot and are now deciding whether to pursue a relationship. Bill Agatuda, CBS News, Olympia, Washington.
President Bush today vetoed a bill that would have allowed people to register to vote when they apply for a driver's license. Supporters of the so-called motor voter bill said it would make registration easier and help boost voter turnout. The president said it would be too expensive for the states and open to fraud. Tornadoes and floods and hail the size of softballs hit parts of the Great Plains today. Some farmers in Iowa and Nebraska reported their crops of wheat, corn, and soybeans destroyed. The wind blew 65 miles an hour around thunderstorms in Iowa, very hard on houses, fields, and barns. 6 inches of rain fell in eastern South Dakota, hard on human beings, hard on cattle, too. Parts of Minneapolis-St. Paul were flooded too. When floods get this bad, they're hard, even on the fish. Holiday travel is booming this 4th of July weekend. As Giselle Fernandez reports tonight, millions of Americans are flying high and cheap.
Yeah, go inside and get it. How many bags you got? I got a while in the middle.
From coast to coast at America's airports today, the nation was on the move.
El Paso, Texas.
North Dakota.
Jackson, Mississippi.
Today, millions of Americans chose the 4th of July to cash in their discounted tickets and kick off a record summer traveling season. An estimated 8 to 10 million travelers are expected to take to the skies this weekend alone. At Chicago's O'Hare, it was one of the busiest days ever.
We're expecting a all-time record passenger boarding day.
We heard about the discount fare and we jumped on it and got a round trip ticket.
Well, we've been already to New Orleans, Cancun, New York.
The major carriers have hired additional agents to cope with the new onslaught of inexperienced leisure travelers, families, and lots of children. Not a welcome sight for the business traveler used to more spacious skies.
I think it's a different clientele that's traveling, so it's made it more difficult. Lines are longer, parking lots are more crowded.
And flights are overbooked. It's as busy as Christmas or Thanksgiving.
I'm waiting 3 hours. I'm here since 10 o'clock this morning. Now they bumped me off. I got to go to Pittsburgh and then from Pittsburgh to Miami. It's ridiculous already.
Despite the headaches, the deluge has brought relief to the industry's recessionary drought.
This is a tremendous increase in the volume of passengers. That's a real plus for the airline industry.
The travel industry predicts this is just the beginning, that every day this summer will seem as busy as a holiday. And if today is any indication of what's to come, the airlines say brace for Sunday, when all of America's holiday travelers make their mad dash home. Giselle Fernandez, CBS News, New York.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, only handouts for the hungry of this once elegant European city. Bob Simon reports from inside Sarajevo. And a new sound this election year, a song of praise to women who just might be on your ballot.
Draw from the facts. There's a way to maintain regularity without drugs. It starts here. A high-fiber diet, which can include Kellogg's All Bran, an excellent source of wheat bran fiber, may help you stay regular, drug-free. And there's a lot to be said for that, naturally. A high-fiber diet on Kellogg's All Bran for drug-free regularity.
When I hear the rain, I know I'm in for it. The dampness, the chill. Arthritis pain seems to come from every joint in my body. For pain like this, now instead of aspirin, I take Advil. Advil contains the same medicine my doctor often prescribes for arthritis pain. In fact, for minor arthritis pain, doctors recommend Advil most. With Advil, I'm on my way. Advil, tablets and caplets. Advanced medicine for pain.
NATO announced today that the United States has completed the promised withdrawal of all tactical nuclear weapons from Europe. The short-range missiles and nuclear artillery shells were frontline weapons during the Cold War. Now they'll be destroyed. The first Canadian peacekeepers arrived in Sarajevo today to try to secure the airport for a UN relief operation. The rest of the Bosnian capital is still under siege. It is the main battleground in the struggle among Serbs, Croats, and Muslims to carve up the former Yugoslav republic. Bob Simon is in Sarajevo.
That lost tribe of Canadians finally wound its way into Sarajevo's airport this morning. 300 men, the advance units of an armored infantry battalion. White phalanxes of half-tracks, trucks laden with supplies. The 200-mile journey had taken 3 days. The men began clearing mines, digging in, securing the airport perimeter. The first relief flight in 2 days landed a few hours later, the first aid from the United States. A C-130 full of medical supplies brought in by the U.S. charity AmeriCares. But getting food and medicine here is only half the battle. This is how the very limited supplies are getting into town. A convoy of half a dozen UN trucks, led by an armored personnel carrier manned by French soldiers. It's come to be known as a Sarajevo taxi. It's traveling down a very mean road. The food was ferried to a suburban warehouse, but even this place is far from the hungry of Sarajevo. Locals drop by and never leave empty-handed, but this was the scene downtown when the French came in with some combat rations. And distribution is still impossible in the worst-hit areas, which means that the most desperate are getting nothing at all.
We will be assessing tomorrow to see if these supplies are actually getting to someone. We have to start someplace.
The military situation was quiet after the Canadian arrival. It was what UN Commander General Mackenzie called a ceasefire, Sarajevo style. That means that no one opens fire unless and until he feels like it. And the agreements being negotiated by the UN cover only this one airstrip. Every place else is a free fire zone. Bob Simon, CBS News, Sarajevo.
A millionaire American businessman said today he's going to Yugoslavia to become prime minister. Milan Panic was born there. He emigrated to the United States in 1956. Panic has now been invited back, supposedly to lead the Serbian government of Yugoslavia, which is struggling under U.S. and UN sanctions. South African President F.W. de Klerk accused the African National Congress today of trying to sabotage peace talks so it can seize power by force. The ANC broke off talks with the government last month to protest a massacre in a black township. De Klerk is now calling for an urgent summit with Nelson Mandela and other black leaders. Stay with us for more of the CBS Evening News. A picture that raised the hopes of so many Americans looks too much like another that has nothing to do with Americans.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered the 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
You see the word healthy on a lot of things these days, and the thing you gotta wonder is, how do they get that way? Well, this is something new. Healthy Favorites ham from Oscar Mayer. This is the real thing, nothing funny, none of the good stuff taken away. It's real, slow-cooked ham that's naturally low in fat and only 14 calories a slice. New Healthy Favorites from Oscar Mayer. Who else would you trust?
Some things a fella likes to do himself, like make his own sandwich with Smucker's strawberry jam. Oh, go ahead, take another. Jams are naturally fat-free and less than 20 calories. With a name like Smucker's, it has to be good.
If your doctor has recommended Metamucil and you like the results, but you don't like those glasses of thick liquid, change to FiberCon. Get the same fiber action in easy-to-swallow tablets. Get doctor-recommended FiberCon.
Crime has come to this street, and the neighbors have to do something about it.
Give him a shot with that, okay?
See them fight back. Watch Ed Bradley Street Stories tonight.
A Senate committee called on President Bush today to release all secret documents on Americans missing in the Vietnam War. This came as the Pentagon tried again today to discredit one alleged piece of the MIA puzzle. David Martin reports.
The so-called Three Amigos, a photograph purporting to show 3 American pilots alive and still held prisoner in Indochina. It is the photo which reignited the smoldering issue of Americans missing in action, and today the Pentagon said it was a fraud, a doctored version of a 1923 picture which appeared in an obscure Soviet magazine. The wife and daughter of John Robertson are convinced the man on the left in this picture is Robertson, but they acknowledge the 2 pictures look alike.
There's definitely a similarity.
Yeah, in the composition of the photograph, I think there's a similarity.
But exposing this photo would not end their search.
What this picture did for us was it opened the door for us to start our own investigation. And we have found so many discrepancies and things that prove that he was alive on the ground.
The MIA issue is also kept alive by Ross Perot, who claims the U.S. abandoned its fighting men in Vietnam and blames George Bush, among others, for failing to bring them home.
CBS News has obtained this 1987 letter Perot wrote to then-President Reagan, outlining the results of his own investigation into missing Americans. In it, he charges the principal obstacle in obtaining the release of these men since the end of the war has been a lack of diligence and follow-through by our government.
Perot said, "We left POWs behind. We knew we were leaving men behind. There are 343 MIAs in Laos." If that's true, Perot knew something the U.S. government did not. Last week, the Senate Select Committee on MIAs said that although there were 133 Americans last seen alive and never heard from again, it could not prove that any U.S. servicemen were still alive and in captivity at the end of the war. David Martin, CBS News, The Pentagon.
Auto workers in Bowling Green, Kentucky marked a milestone today. The 1 millionth Corvette rolled off the Chevrolet assembly line there. The newest Vette won't be burning up the highway. It's headed for the National Corvette Museum, now under construction in Bowling Green. Coming up next, Eye on America. Tonight, young men in big trouble. They didn't sign up with Uncle Sam.
Why don't you take a break and meet me?
I can't. I am in the middle of the most romantic novel. Call you later.
Later? Romantic? I'll show you romantic. Domino's? I'm coming in.
Come into Domino's now for our 99-cent carry-out special. With any pizza at the regular price, get a one-topping medium for 99 cents.
Domino's? Ronnie, my Romeo.
Nobody knows like Domino's.
How you like pizza at home?
Hello. I'd like to talk to you about an invisible problem. The invisible bacteria that cause nasty denture odor. Fortunately, antibacterial Effident not only cleans the stains you can see, it kills the odor-causing bacteria you can't for clean, fresh dentures. So while the problem may be invisible, the solution is clearly evident. Darling, we're on TV.
Antibacterial Effident cleans what you can see and what you can't.
Your breakfast, sir.
This new Kellogg's Frosted Bran is quite sensible. Crispy flakes with whole wheat and bran, lightly frosted for a taste that's delicious. I love it. I love it. 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 I love it. And new Kellogg's Frosted Bran has less sugar than you'd imagine, but the taste, it's out of.
We've got to stop serving this.
New Kellogg's Frosted Bran, wildly delicious, sensibly good.
A rip-roaring 4th of July. Ryne Sandberg ignites the Cubs against the Braves. Independence Day, 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS.
Tonight's Eye on America is about the draft. No, we don't actually have one anymore. But did you know young men still have to sign up for it? And if they don't, they pay a price, as Jim Stewart will show you.
Josh Volk, a devout Quaker and freshman engineering student at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, decided as a matter of conscience not to register for the draft with Selective Service when he turned 18. That got him kicked out of his first college.
This isn't your first choice. No, this wasn't my first choice.
The decision also cost him federal and state tuition aid.
I was basically told, don't even bother to apply for it. You won't get it by every school I talked to.
And now, along with 500,000 other young men over the past 5 years, his name has been turned over to the Justice Department for possible prosecution. At a time when the armed forces are letting fewer and fewer people in, while forcing more and more to get out, it may come as a surprise that the Selective Service system keeps right on humming.
Men, don't forget to register with Selective Service when you turn 18. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Selective Service System, this is Liz speaking.
While the draft has not actually been used in nearly 20 years, the government is still registering 5,000 young men a day in the event it changes its mind. Those who forget or refuse meet with swift punishment.
If you don't register with Selective Service, you're precluded from a wide range of federal benefits and federal employment. So it's become more of sort of a punitive system than a system that really seems to have any basis in military readiness reality.
13 states now deny student financial aid to non-registrants. 4 more deny entry to state schools altogether. And penalties appear to be spreading as the Selective Service expands its computer database.
The administration and the Congress feels that the world is still a very dangerous place, and then it's a prudent measure to have a relatively inexpensive life insurance policy in effect.
But it's a bogus policy, some believe. Every possible conflict now foreseen by Pentagon strategic planners would be over with before the first conscript could finish basic training. The Pentagon says it just plain doesn't need a draft.
There are thousands of young men and women out there who wanted to serve, would like to serve, never will have the chance to serve because we don't need them.
And given that attitude, signing up for the draft has frankly started to slip the minds of some young men. Mike Gotti is a college student in New York.
No one contacted me. And to this day, actually, I wouldn't know how I would register if I wanted to register. I assumed I would get some notice in the mail, something like that, but nothing ever came, so I didn't do it.
Most seem to know of the requirement, but are fuzzy on the details.
I've heard that you have to, otherwise there's a fine or some jail time or something like that. Bad news, huh? Yeah.
And as Josh Volk can attest, the price for non-compliance is real.
It's costing taxpayers money and people like me money.
Money for processing. More and more money every day.
Left turn, march!
For while the Pentagon is taking a 7% budget cut this year, the Selective Service is asking for a 5% budget raise to $28.6 million. Money it says it needs to ensure that everyone is accounted for. In Amherst, Massachusetts, this is Jim Stewart for Eye on America.
I'm about to cook a low-fat feast before your very eyes, using all-natural Pam cooking spray instead of oil or butter. With Pam, nothing comes between you and the taste of your food. No funny aftertaste to cover up the flavors. And it's the only leading spray that's 100% natural. You cut down on fat and cholesterol, not on taste. With Pam, nothing comes between you and the taste of your food.
Dear Folgers, I run a bed and breakfast. When I overslept one morning, the Folgers switch saved my reputation. The percolator wasn't even set up, so I secretly switched Folgers crystals for the brewed coffee I normally serve.
This is delicious.
Well, the taste and aroma must have fooled them, because they were shocked when I revealed the switch and joked about sounding like one of your restaurant commercials.
Folgers Crystals, proven to surprise fresh brewed coffee drinkers.
Sincerely, Janet Turley.
Thank you. Grandma's got a date. What's a date?
Closeness. You might hesitate if you wore a diaper. So Johnson & Johnson created Serenity Guards. Bladder control protection so advanced, it holds as much as something 5 times its size and stays dry, locking liquid in. And now there's Serenity Super Plus with even more super absorbance. So if you've been looking for extra protection, give yourself hugs for discovering Serenity Super Plus.
You could ease up a little. Table for 2 in about 5 minutes. Mr. Douglas, I have your table. But you're not gonna.
You could stop being a perfectionist. But you're not gonna. You're not gonna change because of heartburn, and you don't have to. There's something new that's like no ordinary antacid. New Malox Heartburn Relief. It stops the burning and helps keep it from coming back. So get on with life like you're gonna live it. New Malox Heartburn Relief is made for you.
Women in record numbers are running for the United States Senate this year. Galvanized by the issues of abortion rights and sexual harassment, they have jumped into the political fray. And as Cindy Kennard reports, they have the money to make a difference.
The stars turned out for this sold-out Hollywood fundraiser. Goldie and Sybil and Barbara Boxer, and 8 other women from across the country seeking seats in the U.S. Senate.
Hi, Goldie. Jerry Rothman Surratt, running for the Senate, Missouri. Nice to meet you. Thanks so much.
Barbara Streisand was the opening act for an evening which raised more than $350,000 for the candidates.
Will electing these women to the Senate change anything? You bet it will.
As you know, we are celebrating the Year of the Woman. And the last time we celebrated the Year of the Woman was 72 years ago, when women got the vote. Boy, time sure does fly when you're being repressed.
For all the talk of 1992 being the Year of the Woman, that political forecast has been made before, only to see promising primary victories fizzle in the fall. The question is, will this year be any different?
I can't really say that whether it will fizzle or not, but I do feel many of the issues that are coming to the forefront today are ready-made for women candidates.
It's issues like the economy, childcare, and abortion, issues women are talking about and voters say they want addressed.
I believe there's a voice missing in the United States Senate, and it's a voice just like mine.
Last night's fundraiser is a sign of the times.
What we are trying to do is elect more women to Congress because...
Ellen Malcolm is the president of a women's group called Emily's List. They have already raised $2.1 million for female candidates this year. The excitement and enthusiasm over these candidates, all Democrats, doesn't worry the Republican president.
I am delighted with some of the women that our Senate candidates are going to be taking on because they will be easier to beat. They're way over on the liberal spectrum.
I think we all ought to send poor George a message. And it says, read our lips, you'll eat your words.
The song written for last night's event, Common Threads. And the common thread binding this crowd is the outrage still being felt over what happened last fall on Capitol Hill.
In October, when the Anita Hill hearings, Clarence Thomas hearings hit, everything kind of just took off.
The common hope here is the anger and money and moral support translate into changes that go way beyond this election. Cindy Kennard, CBS News, Los Angeles.
That's the CBS Evening News. Ed Bradley will be along with Street Stories tonight at 9, 8 Central Time. I'm Charles Kuralt for Dan Rather. Good night.
Experience CBS News.
The 4th of July, a day of color, pageantry, parades, and patriotism. And as the summer begins, a day to reflect and remember journeys past. Join Charles Kuralt for a look back at some glorious 4ths as we celebrate the present and look to the future. Tomorrow's Eye on America on the CBS Evening News. This is CBS.
Next on Hard Copy, husband and wife gymnast disqualified over a private gymnastics tape, plus Madonna's long-lost video.
We're talking kids in love.
I can't believe these two were jumping naked in bed when they were 3.
On Christina.
Tomorrow at 9.
Popeye's chicken is fresh, never frozen, and cut into 8 full pieces. Now get 8 pieces for $5.99 or 16 pieces for $10.99 at Popeye's.
During the day, they cook and care for kids, but when the camera went on, they took it all. Playboy Housewives on Entertainment Tonight.